All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Sterling Heights City Council to order. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please bless our elected officials. Grant them courage and wisdom to do it for all citizens. Amen.
Amen. All right, thank you, Ms. Vriska. Can we please have the roll call?
Mayor Taylor,
Here.
Mrs. Sarowski.
Here.
Mrs. Sarowski,
Present.
Mr. Radke,
Present.
Mrs. Schmidt,
Present.
Mr. Martinez.
Here. Thank you. Council, we need approval of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Koski.
move to approve the agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. First item on our agenda tonight is a report from our city manager, Mark Vanderpool. Mr. Vanderpool.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me begin by inviting everyone to an important ceremony tomorrow. The contributions of the police officers and the impact they make on the community will be celebrated tomorrow as part of the Sterling Heights Law Enforcement Day. The ceremony will begin at 11 a.m. just outside of City Hall. And if there's any, well, there won't be inclement weather tomorrow, but should there be a freak rain event, we'll move inside to the council chamber. So that's tomorrow, our Law Day ceremony beginning at 11 o'clock. And also with Memorial Day coming up, I wanted to remind everyone that our City Hall offices will be closed on Monday, the 29th, obviously. There will be no refuse collection on the 29th, so everything will be delayed one day, and Friday will be collected on Saturday. And speaking of the Memorial Day tribute, the 44th annual Memorial Day festivities begin on Monday with a parade at 9 a.m. with a ceremony between City Hall and the police department in the courtyard. This year's theme is Victory Through Unity, and will feature an exciting first ever Tuskegee Airman flyover using authentic World War II Tuskegee airplanes sponsored by our own BAE Defense Company right here on Van Dyke down by 14 Mile Road, and also a DC-3S, which is the Defense Corridor Center for Collaboration and Synergy, owned by Mary and Ron Lamparter, and both of those entities are graciously funding the flyover, so you can look forward to that new addition. The ceremony will feature remarks from our 2023 Grand Marshal, U.S. Army veteran Larry Sargent, Vice President of the Tuskegee Airmen National Museum, also our Mayor and Chairperson of the Arts Commission, Jeannie Shabath. And at 10 a.m., the parade will kick off, and for all of you who have watched and participated in it, it's one of the best parades for sure, widely attended. We have a lot of floats and individuals, marching bands, and so on participating. It's really something to see. So the parade will travel from the city center down Dodge Park Road. So if you'd like more information, simply go to our website. But we'll look forward to seeing everyone on Memorial Day, Monday the 29th, beginning at 9 a.m. And speaking of the holiday season coming up, we have Memorial Day, we have 4th of July, and then Labor Day. And with those exciting holidays comes fireworks. Many love them, many do not, especially in highly concentrated areas like Sterling Heights. So I wanted to remind everyone of our firework regulations. First, state law does prohibit the city from banning the use of consumer fireworks on the following days. So we have no choice. We have to allow them on the following days, and that is the Saturday and Sunday immediately preceding the Memorial Day holiday. So that Saturday and Sunday, it's legal between 11 a.m. and, 11 a.m. and 11:45 p.m. However, they're not allowed on Memorial Day. We do try to enforce this. We do issue citations. You can try to risk doing them on other days, but you also risk a very expensive fine And a lot of times it's easy to track down with neighbor complaints. The other holiday that it's allowed, and it's more of an extended period, is just before July 4th. So the week of the 29th through July 4th, fireworks are allowed. And then also the Saturday and Sunday immediately preceding Labor Day. So please keep that in mind. Now, we can allow them other days, but the mayor and city council have chosen not to do that. So we only allow it on the days that the state requires us to do it. There are no other days in Sterling Heights where it's allowed. So you can feel free to contact the city in whatever means you'd like, or you can call our police non-emergency number if you want to report the illegal use of fireworks. We will respond and hope that voluntary compliance prevails once again. And Mayor, at the conclusion of tonight's agenda, I'm requesting that the City Council convene a closed session pursuant to Section 8E of the Open Meetings Act for council to consult with the city attorney regarding 2 confidential legal opinions before you. And that concludes my report this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Vanderpool. Next item on our agenda tonight is the consent agenda. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on any item on tonight's consent agenda? Come on up.
Not that tall. I would like to speak on item O, Gun Violence Awareness Day, June 2nd, 2023. I was just handed this resolution that states that you are making it a permanent thing, that the first Friday in June will annually be designated as National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the city of Sterling Heights. I appreciate your support of this. I've spoken here before. Most of you know that my daughter was a victim of gun violence in 2012. It's hard for me to imagine that it's been almost 11 years ago that that happened. But I think that everyone is becoming more and more aware of the gun violence in our country. And it was, Gun Violence Awareness Day was started by friends of Haida Pendleton, a Chicago young lady who performed at the second inauguration of President Obama. And she went home to Chicago and was shot as she was walking in a park. And her friends decided to designate her birthday as Wear Orange Day, Wear Orange being the color that hunters wear to avoid being shot in the woods. So that's where the Wear Orange came. So I encourage all of you to wear orange on June 2nd and invite you to our Macomb County Wear Orange event, which will be held at Veterans Memorial Park in Roseville on June 3rd from 1 to 4 p.m. So thank you for everything.
Thank you, ma'am, and appreciate you coming on this occasion every year and continuing to raise awareness for this important issue. Anyone else on the consent agenda? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor Taylor, members of City Council, Mr. Vanderpool, and Mr. Kajewski. My name's Cindy Bjornson, and I'm a member of Community Alliance. I want to thank Mayor Taylor and the City Council for adopting the resolution designating every June as Pride Month in Sterling Heights. My partner and I have been together for 40 years. For the past 27 years, we've lived in Sterling Heights. We appreciate your support and your commitment to making the LGBTQ plus community feel accepted, welcome, and respected in Sterling Heights. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Elias? We know.
I've been a resident of Sterling Heights for over 30 years. There's quite a number of people that are diverse. And there are some people that are recognized for their diversity while others are not. I don't believe the city is treating everybody fairly. I mentioned this before. I sent you all an email I don't know if you had a chance to read it, but it's really fair. You cannot promote one group over another. That does not equate to equality or inclusion for all, but only for a select group. And by selecting this group, you've basically excluded everybody else. You don't make me feel welcome. I don't want to be able, privately, what you are and who you choose to be is up to you. But I don't think the city should be promoting one type of group over another. You've been, I think, how long have you flown the flag? Is it 1 year so far? Anybody want to answer? All I'm saying is, it's not fair. It's not constitutional. It's not equality. It is not fair for me to not be able to fly that Christian flag or the Italian flag, whatever, to commemorate a certain event, but you fly that LGBT flag for a select few people of the residents here, which offends some of us, because I don't believe anybody should have a flag. It should be either all or none, because it's not fair. You guys are not fair. You're picking and choosing who you want to support. You're picking and choosing who you want to encourage. You want to pick and choose who you say you want to accept. You don't want to accept me because I'm a Christian. You don't want to accept me because I'm white. I don't know. But it's not fair that you choose that. I sent you a case. It's called Sutterfield versus City of Boston. And they said you cannot just pick and choose what you want to fly. It's not fair and it's not right. You need to change this. This is something that someone can do on their own home, but it's not for the city to espouse. Because by supporting one, you totally annihilate everybody else. You're not giving us a chance to fly that flag. You've had the Ukrainian flag, you've had the LGBT flag. So you pick and choose which flags you're going to fly over the whole city without our input, without our ability to fly any other flag. You guys are not, this is basically a constitutional republic, and you guys are elected by the people. You should represent everybody. You should not pick and choose one particular group to fly that flag for their recognition. You don't recognize me. You don't recognize the Christians. You don't recognize Italians. You don't recognize the Mexicans, the Latins, the Polish. Why are you recognizing this particular group? It is really wrong, and it's unfair. So I'm here to speak against it.
Okay, anyone else under the consent agenda? If not, council, we need a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Kosky.
move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Are you coming up to speak, ma'am?
Oh,
Okay, let's just pause the motion. You can come up and speak. If you'd like to speak, please make that apparent when this speaker is done, okay? Thank you.
Okay, I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. Thank you. I'm also speaking in regard to the flying of the gay rights flag over Sterling Heights, and I believe that it is discriminatory because there are groups of Jewish people here, and if they wanted to fly the Jewish flag during Passover, that wouldn't be allowed. If the Muslims wanted to fly the Muslim flag during Ramadan, that would not be allowed. If the Christians wanted to fly the Christian flag during Easter, that would also not be allowed. And to allow one group to fly their flag and exclude the others is biased and it's discriminatory. And I'm not saying that all of those groups should be allowed to fly their flags. I'm just saying that if one is, then all should be or none should be. It's just not right to single out one group of people and say, this is your privilege and this is your right, but there's a lot of diversity in our state, and we need to have the same representation, the same respect for all. And so I would agree with the lady that spoke before me that it's not fair to the rest of us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else on the consent agenda? If not, should we have the motion made again? Mrs. Kosky.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
support.
It's been moved and supported with no discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item on our agenda is to consider approval of a memorandum of understanding between the City of Sterling Heights and the Sterling Heights Police Officers Association, Michigan Association of Police. Presentation from our city manager, Mark Vanderpool. Mr. Vanderpool.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Progressive police agencies across the country are incorporating comfort dogs into the law enforcement environment with great outcomes. Comfort dogs are incredibly effective at diffusing potential conflicts and providing comfort to both officers and those who find themselves in conflict or in difficult situations. Internally, the presence of a comfort dog within the police department on a daily basis affords officers an opportunity to decompress from what is certainly a challenging profession. Comfort dogs also aid victims of crime, especially minors who come to the police department for interviews with detectives. Comfort dogs are a calming influence when introduced into a conflict situation being mediated by police officers. So the Sterling Heights Police Department, as City Council knows, proposed and the Mayor and City Council approved in the budget that was just passed recently, the appropriation to fund a comfort dog. So we're now at the implementation stage of this. There will be one police officer selected as a handler of the comfort dog. As is the case with the Canine Officer Program, the Federal Fair Labor Standards Act, better known as FLSA, requires that comfort dog officer receive monetary consideration for the after-hours time spent taking care of the dog, exercising, grooming, and caring in other ways for the comfort dog. So with that in mind, a memorandum of understanding had to be negotiated between the police officers union and the city. And so basically what is currently done with the canine units is that officers work a 35-hour work week with an additional 5 hours pay per week, equating to 40 hours, to credit them, if you will, for taking care of the dog. So the same will be done for the comfort dog. However, it will be reduced hours. For example, the officer will work 36.5 hours a week and then be compensated 3.5 hours for at-home services, if you will, taking care of the dog. So it's not quite as intensive as taking care of a canine dog. However, it certainly does require some time beyond the normal workday. So this memorandum of understanding has been negotiated. Both parties have agreed, and it's now before the City Council for approval. So, Mayor, with all that in mind, City Administration's respectfully requesting that the Mayor and City Council approve the MOU before you this evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vanderpool. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this item? If not, Council, we need a motion.
Mayor Taylor,
Mrs. Sarowski.
resolved to approve the memorandum of understanding between the City of Sterling Heights and the Sterling Heights Police Officers Association / Michigan Association of Police to implement the Comfort Dog Program with the Police Department and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign it on behalf of the city.
Support.
It's been moved and supported by two great dog lovers on our city council.
right. Should be a German short hair.
I was
Well,
going to
we're
ask.
going to talk about the golden retriever thing.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, yes.
What do you say, Mayor?
I like a Labrador myself.
Look, you can't get a better dog than a German short-haired pointer.
Here.
There's not a more beautiful-looking dog, more energetic, loving,
I think I still
Kind.
have the floor.
and crazy. All right, it's yours.
Not
Go
your
ahead.
turn yet.
Crazy.
Not your turn. So anyway, yes, I think this is a wonderful idea, although I have talked with the chief, and he wants something little and yappy, so I talked to him about, I wouldn't approve it if he wanted that, so, no yappy dogs. But I think that, yes, this is a wonderful idea. Dogs are certainly a great comfort to most people. Some people are a little scared of dogs, but I think that a nice snuggly golden retriever would cure anything. So I'm just in favor of this. Dogs, and especially the officers, and I think that this isn't just for kids coming in or going to a home that, has a situation going on. This is for the officers too. And we have to take into account, and we have two officers here who I think are probably in favor of this, I hope. But you guys have a rough job, and coming into a dog, even if you don't have a dog at home, coming in back to the police department and having a dog kind of going, hey, how are you doing? It would be great, I think, and to have that, just that being greeted by something that's sweet and always happy to see you, sometimes your coworkers aren't so happy to see you or not showing that kind of affection. I just think that this is a great idea. I don't see any negative to it at all, so 100% in favor. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Zarowski.
Golden Retriever.
Mrs. Schmidt, anything?
I'm good.
Mr. Radke?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I totally agree, almost, with Mrs. Sarowski, or Mayor Pro Tem Sarowski.
Yeah.
I think this is a great program. I think it's very forward-thinking. I'm so happy that our police department seems to be on the cutting edge of so many of these things with our social worker now, a comfort animal, because I think it really can make a difference. If we're soliciting breeds, I like a yellow Labrador or a Beagle, because, I think those are the best. But that's just me. I'm fully in support of this. I think it's going to be a wonderful program, and I think it's going to really lend some comfort to both our officers and the public. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Radke. Mrs. Koski? The preeminent dog lover on the city council.
Of course.
Okay.
My only request
Yeah, no
is
cover
that it be
cats.
a female.
Here.
I agree. I agree.
Because
We
our
have
only
to have
female
our
retired.
female representation
right.
on the canine program. Breed of dog, I'm open to that. They're all great, as long as it's a female, I'm happy.
I agree.
Mr. Yanez?
Yeah. I too am a dog lover. I don't agree with this decision though, because I offered my dog to the chief and he denied taking my dog off my hands, who's just adorable. I do have a serious question through the chair to the city manager. I know when the police chief talked about this a couple meetings ago, he mentioned that they were looking at getting a dog that is hypoallergenic and doesn't shed. I'm just curious, during the conversations with the union, is there going to be any accommodations made for any employees that may be allergic to a dog?
Mr. Vanderpool?
They can go outside.
Thank you, Mayor.
It's-
Councilman
So can the
Yanez,
dog.
first, we appreciate the comments. I've jotted down all the different breeds that you're interested
Westie, that's a
in.
Westie. I didn't mention.
And the gender.
Westie, yeah.
So we'll have to figure that out through some sort of genetic testing and whatnot, but
Poor dog, it's going to have no hair.
we will also have to take into consideration what you mentioned, making sure that, we find a dog that is most tolerable by all individuals. I don't know that that's possible in terms of hypoallergenic issues and so on, but that's on the list. We're still developing the job description.
For the dog.
I'm being a bit facetious, but in any case, this is still in its infancy stage. So the
Pup
first.
phase.
Exactly.
Puppy stage.
Pup phase, exactly. So the first order of business, all kidding aside, is we have to go through the process to get an officer signed up to volunteer and then get through some training and professional development and so on. And then we'll start going through the process of, what's the appropriate breed, and we'll take some input from professionals and what other communities have experienced with this and so on. We're not blazing a trail on this one. There are others who have implemented it, so we'll be looking at some best practices as well, but we appreciate all the feedback.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, council. Yeah, I think it's a great idea, too. All kidding aside, I do hope that, I guess let me put it this way. There have been a number of initiatives coming out of our police department over the last several years where they've looked at ways to provide the same high level of service in terms of keeping our community safe, but taking care of our community and taking care of our police officers. And, it's easy to say, what kind of an agenda item is this? You're buying a dog to make the police officers feel better, but we're all humans, and there's something about a dog that is just absolutely the best. As Mrs. Sarowski said, I can come home after being at work for many, many hours. I can come home after a council meeting, and there's usually one person, or one family member, I should say, that greets me right at the door. And you all know that feeling if you've had a dog. So I'm hoping that this is a great program, and I'm excited about it. So council, without any further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item on our agenda is to consider nominations to the City of Sterling Heights boards and commissions. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this item? Okay, if not, council, we have 6 boards for which nominations will be given tonight. The first is the Planning Commission. There are 3 members on the Planning Commission, 2 of whom are seeking reappointment, and 1 of whom is unfortunately going to be leaving the city of Sterling Heights and can no longer serve on the Planning Commission. These are mayoral appointments confirmed by the City Council. All of them are to terms ending June 30th, 2026. So, Council, I want to thank Lori Doty for her many years of service to the city of Sterling Heights, both on the Planning Commission and on other boards as well. Lori is a representative that works for AT&T. She's a great woman. She's been a tremendous supporter of the city of Sterling Heights. Her work through AT&T corporate to sponsor Sterling Fest and other events throughout the city. She's been a constant presence, I know, and any time that we have any telecommunications issues, she's right there to step in. And Lori is going to be moving out of the city, and I certainly, on a personal level, am going to miss having her leadership, but I wish her well and thank her for her many years of service to the city of Sterling Heights. So that leaves 2 members who do request reappointment, and I'm happy to nominate them. Those are Nathan Inks and Ed Kopp to a term ending June 30th, 2026. Council.
Mayor Taylor,
Mrs. Schmidt.
resolved to nominate Nathan Inks and Edward Kopp for consideration as appointees to the Planning Commission at the June 6, 2023 regular city council meeting.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? With no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I'll pass on the other Planning Commission nomination for now, and we'll move on to the next board, which is the Board of Ordinance Appeals 1. There is an open alternate position. This is a city council appointment to a term ending June 30th, 2026. Council, is there a nomination?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Radke.
resolved to nominate Ben Ancona for consideration as an appointee to the Board of Ordinance Appeals 1 alternate at the June 6, 2023 regular city council meeting.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Any discussion, Mr. Radke?
Briefly, Mr. Ancona already serves on the other Board of Ordinance Appeals, and for an alternate, it's often good to have someone who knows what's going on. So I think he'd be great as an alternate.
Okay, council, any other discussion? No discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the Board of Ordinance Appeals 2. This is a city council appointment. There are 3 members seeking reappointment to terms ending June 30th, 2026. Council, is there anyone who'd like to make these nominations?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Radke.
resolved to nominate Michael Bargowski, Joseph Bedford, and Roman Stojolowski for consideration as appointees to the Board of Ordinance Appeals 2 at the June 6, 2023 regular city council meeting.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the Board of Review. There are 2 members seeking reappointment. This is a council appointment to terms ending June 30th, 2026. Council, is there a nomination?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Yanes.
resolved to nominate John Fenn and Raymond Nadolski for the consideration as an appointee to the Board of Review at the June 6, 2023 regular city council meeting.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Is there any discussion?
No.
No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the Police and Fire Pension Board. This is a city council appointment, again, to a term ending June 30th, 2026. Board member John Lamorato is seeking reappointment. Is there anyone who'd like to make that nomination?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Yanes.
resolved to nominate John Lamorato for the consideration as an appointee to the Police and Fire Pension Board at the June 6, 2023 regular city council meeting.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The final board tonight is the Zoning Board of Appeals. 4 members who are currently serving are seeking reappointment. These are council appointments to a term ending June 30th, 2026. Is there anyone who'd like to make a nomination?
Point of inquiry, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Radke.
2 of them are alternates and 2 of them are regular members. Do we have to designate who is who in the motion?
Mr. Koszybski?
We didn't the appointment a couple of appointments ago.
Sorry?
We didn't 2 appointments ago.
We will next week.
Do we just do it when we vote in?
So, Mr. Koszybski, the question is, the alternate members, which are the alternate members?
Ben Ancona and Jeff Shahab. They're currently the alternate members.
Okay. We could take them separately if you'd like, Mayor.
I wasn't sure if we had to, okay.
At the next, I mean, they're being appointed, you're right, to the zoning board of appeals as alternate members if they do get nominated. So the nomination should be separate for the alternate positions.
Do we need to go back up?
Okay, so Mr. Shahab is alternate 1 and Mr. Ancona is alternate 2. So if somebody would like to take these in 2 steps, with the other 2 members, Mr. Koski and Ms. Faruqi, and the alternates separately. Anyone like to make that motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Radke.
resolve to nominate Jeff Shahab as alternate 1 for consideration as an appointee to the zoning board of appeals at the June 6, 2023 regular city council meeting.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? No discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Mr. Radke,
Resolve to nominate Ben Ancona as alternate 2 for consideration as an appointee to the zoning board of appeals at the June 6, 2023 regular city council meeting.
Support.
it's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? No discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And then as for the 2 full members of the zoning board,
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Radke.
resolve to appoint Aisha Faruqi, to nominate, Aisha Faruqi for consideration as an appointee to the zoning board of appeals at the June 6, 2023 regular city council meeting.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion?
Briefly, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Radke.
I spoke with Aisha. She had missed a couple meetings, but in the previous 3 years, she hadn't missed a meeting. So she's resolved to try to make sure that she can notify the city if she has to miss a meeting. I figure let's give her another chance to be on the board, because she served 3 years before this with no problem.
Okay, I agree. I also spoke with Aisha Faruqi. She is very passionate about serving and regrets that she wasn't able to make some of the meetings due to extenuating circumstances. She's committed to be much better about it. Some of it was out of her control, but she'll do her best to be there and communicate, because we do have alternates, because we know that our volunteers live busy lives as well, and so that's why we do have those 2 alternates that we nominated today. So council, any other discussion? No discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We do have 1 additional member. Is there anyone who'd like to make that nomination?
Mayor Taylor,
Mrs. Schmidt.
resolve to nominate Devin Koski for consideration as an appointee to the zoning board of appeals at the June 6, 2023 regular city council meeting.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? No discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
1 no. Motion carries 5 in favor, 1 opposed. The final one is the open, the soon-to-be open seat on the Planning Commission. And Mr. Koszybski, help me out here if you've got it handy. If not, I'll have it in a second.
June 6th.
I would entertain a motion to postpone consideration of this nomination for the soon-to-be open seat to the June 6th, 2023 City Council meeting.
So moved.
Support. It's been moved and supported with no discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And that completes that portion of our agenda, and we will now move on to communications from citizens. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on any item that was not on tonight's agenda? Yes, sir?
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to speak for a few minutes. I'd like to provide the council with an overview of an ongoing public records investigation. A few months ago, a concerned citizen from the Jackson area requested his voting history from his local clerk and from the State Bureau of Elections. These records do not contain data with respect to how an individual voted in an election, but rather information such as voter ID in-person or absentee, jurisdiction, and date and time information. What he found is the records don't match. The local record seems to be correct, the state record is not. The local record has one voter ID number, the state record has a completely different number. The local record has an accurate date and time information. The state record has all zeros for time. The local record recorded all the jurisdictions he voted in over a 10-year history. The state record lists only one jurisdiction. This individual has started a grassroots movement to hold state officials responsible for violating MCL 750-248, which reads in part, a person who falsely makes, alters, forges, or counterfeits a public record or a certificate, return, or attestation of a clerk of a court, register of deeds, notary public, township clerk, or any other public officer in relation to a matter in which the certificate, return, or attestation may be received as legal proof is guilty of a felony punishable by imprisonment for not more than 14 years. Concerned citizens in at least 14 counties have requested their voting history from their local clerks. This includes approximately 100 in Macomb County. As part of this investigation, I submitted a FOIA request to the Sterling Heights clerk on May 1st. It reads in part, per the Freedom of Information Act, please provide a copy of the extract files from the electronic poll books for all registrants at all voting precincts in the jurisdiction for the election concluding November 8th, 2022. The request was denied, and today I appealed that denial via an email to Mr. Vanderpool. Judy McHale was copied on that email. I'm available along with others I'm working with if an in-person meeting is desired as a next step to discuss my FOIA request. In a few weeks' time, those of us who are involved in the Macomb County investigation will file criminal complaints with local police and sheriffs throughout our county. Based on an abundance of clear evidence that public records law MCL 750-248 has been violated, we anticipate County Sheriff Anthony Wickersham, County Clerk Anthony Ferlini, and County Prosecutor Peter Lucido will launch an investigation of their own. I would like to close by reiterating that the focus of our investigation is state level, not local clerks. And if anybody has any questions or would like to be involved in this, my phone number is 586-744-9010. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else under communications from citizens? Yes, sir.
I'll try and be as eloquent as I can. My name is Wally Bronson, live on Melbourne Drive in the beautiful city of Sterling Heights.
Beautiful house.
And Mr. Koszewski, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vanderpool, and City Council, thank you for allowing me to speak. A couple of things. My wife and I and fellow neighbors were very concerned with the amount of people who are purchasing homes and then renting them out and not keeping them up to some form of a standard that would help promote the community. I've got a couple of pictures.
Put them on the table there, if you can see where it's
The light is.
shaded a little bit, then right in the middle anywhere, and they'll pick it up. Yeah, you can see on the,
Okay. This photo here is a neighbor of mine. We moved into the city of Sterling Heights in 2007. On the far right side here, you can see it's a burglar alarm that's hanging off the side of the home. that was like, that's from 2007 and is currently in the same condition. In this picture, this was taken a week ago. The landlord or the homeowner did not cut the grass. However, they did make an attempt to cut the grass. The other photograph is of a home that just went up for sale and sold. They've got a dumpster in the driveway now. They are redoing the home. Hopefully, they're going to own the home and stay and live in the home. They have cut the grass. The concern of a lot of our neighbors is that if the city is telling these people through See-Click Fix or whatever the fact is, to cut their grass, and then a week later, they got to tell them all over again, or 2 weeks later, I would think that it would be just common knowledge that people have to do that. We're just really concerned that there is a lot of homes that are purchased and then put up for rent. I know in our area, we've got at least 12 homes that are this type of thing, this type of situation. The other thing I would like to touch on, if I may, is I'd like to congratulate publicly our fire department and our police department. We had a fire at our home in 2015, and there was 4 trucks out in front of our house in less than 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic, just utterly fantastic. And the police department, they were at our house for another issue. The guys were just super. Cannot say enough about them. So whatever it takes to get more people, you know, I'm up with that. And the last thing I got is for the comfort dogs, Jack Russell Terriers. I have 2 females that have been spayed, and they're highly energetic. They give 1,000% love, and that's all I have.
We'll start a poll or something.
Majority
If
wins.
you'd like to see a picture. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Elias.
I wanted to speak about 2 things. The waste containers, the 96 gallons for the garbage. You guys are looking at maintaining a clean city. I think the city is quite, I know in my area, we use garbage bags or such, and it's very successful. There's no garbage that is disposed on the ground or such. I'm concerned because there's a lot of people that I know that live 1 or 2 people in the house, and I basically use very little garbage, and I don't have room for a 96 gallon. So I'm hoping when you make a decision, you think about all the elderly, all those who live, 2 people who do not use a lot of garbage. And to have a 96 gallon garbage bag, if you've ever seen some, when I walk around, they're filthy. They're not I don't think they're going to be as pleasant as you think to have them around. I just would hope when you're considering the waste hauling contract that you don't consider those 96 gallons, because they'll be an eyesore. They have to be placed somewhere. I have no room for them. I don't use them. They'll be too hard for an elderly person to use. So I think you should consider that, because there's a lot of elderly in the city of Sterling Heights, and their garbage is nothing like the families. And I don't know if it's beneficial, or if it's if it saves money or not, but I think it would be an eyesore, and I think it would be very hard to handle and use, because I have one bag, a little garbage bag, that's it for me. And I know my neighbor is the same, and my other neighbors, there's 2 people that don't have that much garbage. So I think this would be a waste. So you should consider about the composition of the people that live in the city and see if this is valuable. The other thing I want to question is, can I ask why the water bill went from quarterly to monthly? Because the fees are more, because you're sending it out once every month. So the fees are a little bit more, so you're collecting a little bit more money. It costs you a little bit more to mail it. I personally pay it in 1 month. 3 months in one time, but I personally want to know what reason did you guys decide to do this? Because I don't see this as a cost saving. And if you want to give people credit, you can give them time to pay it in 90 days rather than submit 3 every month a bill, I just think it's a waste for stamps, for me. I don't want to get a bill every month for my water bill. I really don't. And I don't know the reason, did anybody suggest this? Was this a community, response that you decided, or did you decide this on your own? Because I think most people would prefer a quarterly bill. And then if you want to give them the opportunity to have time to pay it, give them the 30 days to do so. And send one quarterly bill, because I think it's a waste of money what you're doing and inconvenience for a lot of us. So my point.
Thank you, Ms. Elias. Anyone else under communications from citizens? That'll close that portion, and we'll go on to reports from city administration. Mr. Vanderpool.
Mayor, I can respond to a couple of comments that came up. First, let me start with code enforcement. The city takes the condition of neighborhoods very seriously. We have 16 code officers that canvass the city daily. Approximately 20 years ago, we had 2, for example. So we have increased our code enforcement efforts significantly, and we will continue to do so as needed to keep our neighborhoods as aesthetically pleasing as possible. It is a challenge this time of the year because the grass grows quickly, and it's hard to stay on top of it. We do, however, have a contractor that goes around the city and cuts the grass. If you get a notice that your grass is over 6 inches, it'll be cut 24 hours later by our contractor if it's not mowed. And we've cut hundreds of properties already. We'll be continuing that program all summer long. If you live next to a lot where the grass is a foot long or so, you know how unpleasant that can be. So the program is very successful. But we appreciate the feedback Mr. Bronson brought up in his particular area, and we'll make sure that code officers go back there this week and take a special look at the homes and make sure that they're in full compliance. You know, we want to achieve voluntary compliance, but we'll take whatever measures are necessary to get homes into compliance. And for residents who may have a mobility limitation, a hardship situation, you know, we're able to work with those individuals with sometimes financial assistance and other times deploying our volunteer corps to help them out, trim bushes, cut grass, paint sheds, and the like. Our volunteer corps cleans up hundreds of homes, so we're very proud of that part of our program as well. I did want to mention there'll be plenty of time for continued review on the solid waste contract that will be under consideration this summer, so there'll be a lot of community outreach on that and ample time for continued feedback, but we certainly appreciate the feedback we've been getting so far. With respect to monthly bills for water, it goes without saying that it is a standard practice for utilities to now bill monthly. There are very few, if any, DT consumers and others that bill quarterly, and there's reasons for that. In our case, for water and sewer especially, the quarterly billing system worked. However, it was problematic in that if you ever had a leak or a problem at your home, it often took 3 months to figure it out. If you had a leaking toilet, that will cost you hundreds of dollars over a 90-day period. You'll notice over 30 days, if you have a leaking toilet and you have a higher water bill, you're going to check that out right away. In addition, with our new smart water billing, where you can actually view your usage almost in real time, you can get usage by the day. If you go to the portal and sign up, you can set alerts. If your water consumption is over 5%, 10% on any given day, you'll get an alert and you can check instantly. But monthly billing helps with that as well for those who don't sign into the portal. So it is a best practice with utility operations across the country. It's working very well in Sterling Heights. The transition's gone very smooth. We're all creatures of habit, and the adjustment from quarterly to monthly has been a challenge for some, but the vast majority of residents seem to be pleased and okay with it. Now, the other problem, too, is especially in the summer months during irrigation, some may overwater. It's a sort of a common practice. And you can tell right away in the summer months if your monthly bill goes up because of irrigation, you might be able to scale it back some and better monitor and control your costs. So that's the end goal at the end of the day. It's a best practice because it's far easier to control your costs. And most people are accustomed to paying all their bills monthly instead of semi-annually, quarterly, and so on. So that is the reason, and that's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just do want to add too that the city clerk, we're pushing people to sign up for online billing so that their bills are emailed to them and that they can pay electronically. And I believe there's a $5 a month discount if you sign up for electronic billing, so then the bill just automatically gets sent to you, so there isn't that postage, there isn't the paper expense. So we do encourage everybody to get out and do that, and if for no other reason, then you'll save $5 a month on your bill. Mr. Koszybski, the two items tonight?
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you. Council, any reports or new business?
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Schmidt.
I just want to make mention, we won't have another city council meeting before Music in the Park and the Farmers Market starts on June 1st. So everybody come on out and have fun and buy some wares and enjoy what our city has to offer. Great time. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Schmidt. Anyone else? Going once, going twice? I'm going to bite, and I'm going to just say it, and I'll try not to take up too much time. The issue with regarding flying the pride flag is completely different than the endorsement of a religion. We cannot endorse a religion in the city of Sterling Heights. It's against the First Amendment to the Constitution. The First Amendment to the United States Constitution talks about not having a government-sponsored religion. And so we were not going to fly flags for any religion. And we're familiar with that case, the city attorney that you mentioned, Ms. Elias, and it's different than what's going on here in that situation in Boston. The city had essentially given up that flagpole and let any private group use it. And by ceding that public flagpole to allow any private group to use it, then yes, any private group that wanted to use it had the right to use it. But we're not doing that here. We're not allowing private groups to use the flagpole. We're deciding as a city who's going to, what flags we're going to fly. And I'll tell you, if an Italian-American group came and wanted recognition, if a, if any other ethnicity came and said, we want recognition, we have a large number of Iraqi Americans living in the city of Sterling Heights, a large number of Polish Americans, a large number of Italian Americans. And so we're certainly, I know I can't speak for everybody up here, but I think that our council would say, if there is some recognition, some event or cause that would benefit from promoting different diversity in the city of Sterling Heights, we're happy to do that. And, throughout the entire year, we're passing resolutions. I'm doing mayoral proclamations, and we're recognizing a wide array of groups throughout the city of Sterling Heights. And, I think look, I'm just going to say, we got 7 white people on the city council, and as far as I know, all of us are either Christian, grew up Christian, practice the Christian religion. So it's hard for me to sit here and listen to somebody say, well, the city of Sterling Heights is discriminating against white Christians when that's what your whole government is. So I think that it's important that the city recognize the many diverse groups that we have in the city of Sterling Heights. I think we can do that in a way that does not take away from anyone else's individuality. It's a celebration of the many individual cultures that make one united Sterling Heights. And that's the purpose behind it. And I know that this is difficult for some people, but I'm proud that we've taken this position. And if there are other groups, particularly marginalized groups out there that want recognition, that want to raise awareness, and that want to be heard, and that want to know whether or not we're going to be welcoming to them, inviting to them, hospitable to them, we're happy to do that. I think the city of Sterling Heights, in terms of religion, we host a I think it's a quarterly clergy forum where we invite members of clergy from all different faith communities that come and meet at the city of Sterling Heights at our community center and talk about the issues that are important to them. We have recognized, I think just at the last city council meeting, a church, how many years was it? 200 years. 200 years, and recognition of a church right here in the city of Sterling Heights. We recognize faith communities regularly. We are a city with multiple Christian churches, Protestant churches, Catholic churches, with Buddhist temple, Sikh temple, mosques. So I believe that we have been as opening and welcoming as we can be to all faith communities, particularly Christianity. I mean, I think it's ridiculous when the vast majority, I mean, if you line up Christianity versus the next closest religion, it's not even close. Every judge that you go in front of, I mean, I would say 9 out of 10 judges serving in the United States are Christians. 9 out of 10 politicians are Christians. 9 out of 10 bureaucrats. 9 out of 10 employees working in City Hall. Maybe it's not that much, but you get my point. The vast majority of the people are Christians, so I think it's unfair to say that we're not being open, welcoming, or we're being discriminatory against Christian people. We're trying to be open and welcoming to all people. That's the point, and we can do that. And we are a secular state. We are a secular government. And so if you want to fly a flag, if you have a group out there that you want recognition for work that you're doing, or you feel your voice isn't being heard, or you think that you're marginalized, and you think that by the city of Sterling Heights using its platform to promote and raise awareness, that your life might be better, and the people similarly situated to you, their lives might be better, that's what we're here for. Council, is there anything else? Not?
Mayor Taylor, real quickly, we do fly a flag every single day that does represent everybody, and that is the United States flag.
Of course.
So we do
American
need to
flag.
mention that.
We
Yes.
do, yeah. We fly the POW flag. That's picking a group. We've flown the Purple Heart flag. That's picking a group. And is there anybody out there that would say, well, I'm not an injured military veteran. How dare you fly that flag? What about me? No, of course not. It's absurd. Nobody would have the gall to say something like that, because flying a flag to recognize a particular group does not take away from the other groups. Recognizing gun violence awareness in the month of June doesn't do anything to take away from recognizing breast cancer awareness or heart disease awareness or anything else. So all of these groups can receive recognition, and it's our way as a city council of saying this is what we value. These are our values that we're living by: openness, welcomeness, diversity, inclusion, understanding, and trying to bridge the gap between those who maybe don't feel that way right now. But I think we're making progress. I think we are from where we were 10 years ago in 2013 when we went through an LGBTQ plus ordinance to where we are now. We've made incredible strides. No one of us can take credit for that. But I think what we've been doing over those last 10 years has helped make this a better community for everyone. So I'm proud of it. And I thank those who support it. Council, with no further reports or new business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Into closed session.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So I need to withdraw that.
Yep.
And I would entertain a motion to adjourn into closed session.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. And Ms. Riska, can we please have a roll call vote?
Mrs. Sarowski?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Yanas?
Yes.
Marco? Mrs. Kosky?
Yes.
Mr. Radke?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 6-0. We will adjourn into closed session. We may be returning, but until then, this meeting is in recess to closed session. Thank you. Okay, calling this meeting back to order. Mr. Radke.
Thank you. Resolve to authorize the city attorney to pursue all available remedies to abate the nuisance conditions and code violations existing at 4241 15 Mile Road and 4251 15 Mile Road.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Yanes.
Resolve to authorize the city attorney to pursue all available remedies to abate the nuisance conditions and code violations existing at 11929 Shetland Court.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported with no discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.